trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. I can get us swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In our heart and the struggle, we dare to dream. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. I can get us swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In our heart and the struggle, we dare to dream. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. I can get us swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In our heart and the struggle, we dare.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your Sunday Vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. With that all being said, hello, Nessa G. Reggie is in the virtual building. Yvette is here. All right, let's get into it. Deronda, Claudette, Lillian X, Juju. All right, G from the land. We the people. Okay, so with that all being said, shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. Let's get ready to get into it. I see you, Latasha, but before we do, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so with that all being said, don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Kratz. You can also find it at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she sells beard oil as well. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it. Give me just a second. Okay, let's get into it, beloveds. I apologize for being so tardy. Okay, y'all know I'm always late. Sometimes I'm later than others. Okay, now, that all being said, I was gathering receipts as usual. You all, I really need to stop. Sometimes I swear I'm doing too much. I have all this stuff to talk to you all about, and then I'll see another story or another receipt, and I just keep adding, and piling it all on. That's why these darn lives are starting to last so long. I have to cut it out, but I can't help myself sometimes. Okay, pray for the queen. Hey, Des. Hey, Anita. Melly Mel is here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started because we have a lot to cover. I'm going to try to keep this to at least an hour and a half. Now, with that all being said, listen, Trump is out here looking real crazy in the streets, as we already knew. The oil execs all just looked at him like he was real crazy. Okay, they just really just dissed him. Now, remember, I told you all the other day that he'd already set up and scheduled a meeting for Friday. I mean, right after he had them kidnap Maduro and his wife, okay, he goes and immediately sets up. G from the last said, "We pray, Queen." Thank you, beloved. Okay, Dorada said, "Keep them coming, Queen." All right. Lillian said it's all good. Y'all are nefarious. Okay, so now with that all being said, but thank you for understanding. Now, so he already had gone out or gone and set up this meeting with these oil execs, but it all seems to have gone completely left. Okay, it seems to have all gone completely left. So let's talk about it. First of all, this idiot. Now, you all know how Trump loves to brag. Y'all know how Trump loves to brag, and Trump, when he had them there at the meeting at the White House, right? So he wanted so desperately, I guess, to show off the construction of where he's having that huge ballroom built. And so he gets up to go look out the window as though he doesn't literally see it probably every day. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, look at it. Fake news, fake news. If you all want to look at it, you can go ahead." Trump, please sit down. We have all of this stuff going on, all these issues in the world, thanks to him, a majority of it, and he's trying to get them to look out the window. I'm gonna go to the video.
I gotta look at this myself. Wow. What a view. This is the door to the ballroom. What a unusual time to look, but I figure we might as well do it. If the fake news would like to go back and take a look, you can.
Bruh.
Now, did y'all see that? This man is crazy. Okay, he needs to sit down somewhere. Getting up to go look out the window. So you're just going to interrupt the meeting for that? He acts like a little kid, like a little child who's so excited to show off what they got for Christmas. Okay? Yvette says, "No, Queen, go as long as you like. I'm here for the knowledge." Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Okay, Nessa G said his mind is so damn bad, he probably forgot. Okay, well, they talked to him, the oil execs, as I was telling you, and so it really just didn't go the way he had planned. Remember how he was bragging, talking about all the billions he's going to rake in and all of that? Well, so if we look at the legal and commercial constructs and frameworks in place in Venezuela today, it's uninvestable. Now, this is what one of the execs by the name of Woods told Trump. He says, "Significant changes have to be made to those commercial frameworks, the legal system. There has to be durable investment protections, and there has to be a change to the hydrocarbon laws in the country." Now, with that all being said, Woods goes on to say that he's confident the U.S. can help make those changes, and said he expected Exxon could put a technical team on the ground in Venezuela soon to assess the state of its oil infrastructure. Now, Harold Hamm, a fracking executive and major Trump ally, expressed more enthusiasm, but still fell short of making any commitments. Okay, saying it excites me as an explorationist. Okay, Ham said, whose experience has centered on oil production inside the U.S., said of the opportunity to invest in Venezuela. So he said, basically he's interested, but he didn't make any commitments. Harold Ham, I'm sorry, I already read that. Hold on. Okay, now Trump said, now listen to this. He's making all these promises and trying to get them, more interested or whatever. Okay, Trump said during the meeting that companies that invest in Venezuela would be assured total safety, total security without the U.S. government spending taxpayer dollars or putting boots on the ground. Now, he indicated that Venezuela would provide security for the U.S. companies and that the companies would bring their own protection as well. And then he said afterwards, he said, these people are tough. They go into areas that you wouldn't want to, okay, that you wouldn't want to go. They go into areas that if they invited me, I'd say no thanks. I'll see you back in Palm Beach. That's what he said about the oil companies. So basically, listen, for all these people who are MAGA cult members and they think Trump is so tough and Billy Badass, he isn't. It's easy for him to issue orders. It's easy for him to tell the military to go out there and do these airstrikes and go do land strikes and all of this stuff and act like he can talk tough, but he's not the one out there putting in the work. We all know Trump's nothing but a draft dodger. Okay, he nor anyone in his family is out there putting themselves at risk. So what is he really doing? Because I saw some of the comments on TikTok where MAGA people were saying stuff like, oh, Trump's bad. He's badass. Oh, he's a gangster. I love it. I love it. They love it that he's out here getting people killed. And we've yet to find out the exact number of the people that actually died during that whole invasion when they went and snatched up Maduro and his wife. But, like I told you all, a person that was formerly in military intelligence said that they dropped at least 200. Now, I can't confirm this, but this is what he said he had inside information, said that they dropped at least 200 bombs that weighed 2,000 pounds. And then you all saw all the destruction. You all saw all that destruction that came from it. So how many people have passed away? And then before the executives spoke, Trump insisted that all executives are lining up to take the administration up on the opportunity. He said, if you don't want to go in, just let me know. There are 25 people not here today willing to take your place. Doesn't he always act like there's going to be some drastic missed opportunity? And if you're not ready for it, there's somebody else waiting. So you better snatch it while you can. Like Trump, sit down somewhere. Okay? Absolutely crazy. Now, this is a post that they made about Trump's foreign policy. U.S. oil executive on Venezuela. No one wants to go in there when a random effing tweet can change the entire foreign policy of the country. Okay? Now, that's what they said. And so with that all been said, this is very true because you never know what mind frame Trump's in. He's so unpredictable. He could be up late in the middle of the night tweeting something crazy. So he's totally unreliable. And then as for Denmark, here's the thing, because he's still talking about, either taking Denmark by force and saying that he's not going to let Russia and China get there. We're going to go to some other stuff that he said about that momentarily. But in the meantime, Spencer Hakamian posted saying Denmark offers Greenland lifetime free healthcare, lifetime free education, strongest pension in the world, paid maternity and paid paternity leave. So the mother and the father get to stay home, both parents after a child is born. Free child care. We could never have that in the United States. And here's the thing. We would never have these things in the United States because they don't want people who look like me to have these things for free. All right. $700 million annual transfer payments. Now, the U.S. offers Greenland a one-time check for $10,000, maybe. Okay, so why? Why would they want to go along with the United States? And especially the way Trump is just out here acting like he's John Gotti with his stupid self. Okay, so that's how that all went. Now, meanwhile, people are still protesting about this woman losing her life to ICE. Okay, they say some of the Republicans are saying they're going to resign. People are turning on Trump, and it is just not looking good. Meanwhile, I know he's likely mad as hell. I know he has to be furious. But he's gonna act like everything's all good and everything, they're gonna buy up all the oil, they're gonna come to us, they're not gonna get cheap oil from Russia. He's just gonna act like everything's all fine. Meanwhile, all these protests, and you have Ilhan Omar speaking at one of them. So Mel said Trump is trying to be a bully and steal from people. Yeah, he absolutely is. He absolutely is. And everybody is saying exactly what I told you all from day one, that this was all about Trump stealing those people's oil. Okay, he only did it for the oil. And when he was asked about that by a reporter, here's what he had to say.
What about people who say you're only interested in the Middle East for oil?
What? Huh? Oil? Who said something about oil, bitch? You cooking? Oh. Yeah, I don't know. Come on, y'all, get out of here.
Ray just said, you're right, Queen. They should be outraged. They don't have the same empathy if it were us. Absolutely not. Beloved, absolutely not. Okay, now let's go to this protest. Likes up, everyone please like and share. Likes up, like and share.
One nigga run to the front door. I hop out, I start shooting. Bow, 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 bow. Shot the nigga. Bow, shot his ass. Bow, 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 bow. All the niggas run out the door, they run out the door. This nigga on the floor.
Stole that shit. That's what I do, nigga. Fuck, nigga, I stole that shit. And I stole it, like, bro, but niggas don't understand. I talk facts. Vlad, I talk facts.
Oh, you're right.
I
Don't even deny it. That's cool.
nigga, I talk facts. What deny? What, nigga? Give me that, nigga.
AI is something else, okay? But really, now we're all laughing and it's funny and cute, but at the end of the day, that's how Trump really brags. Okay, that's the equivalent of his braggadocious behavior. All right, out here acting like Soldier Boy and Tekashi 6ix9ine. Okay, that's all he does is brag. His entire administration. And I told you all after he had Maduro captured, I told you all we're never going to hear the end of it. Literally, okay. He's still bragging about it.
And lose their minds trying to intimidate us. I see every single day neighbors trailing these violent people who are trying to intimidate us under the guise of law enforcement and saying no matter what you do to me, you can arrest me or not. I am going to document your illegal actions. Because if there is no accountability today, there will be accountability tomorrow. As they lose their minds trying to intimidate.
Okay, here's the thing. Now, Trump has been warning Iran. Okay, he's been giving them warnings, but he's got all of this stuff going on in his own country. He's got so many people protesting against him. People are upset about the things that he is currently doing. Does he really have time to be trying to warn somebody else and trying to tell other countries what they need to do? But see, this is the problem with the United States continuously.
In cities across the country today, with massive crowds packing Minneapolis, outraged over Wednesday's fatal ICE shooting. We're talking easily 1,000+ people here. The streets are packed. People here can barely move, and the anger here is palpable. Tonight, new surveillance video shows the aftermath of the shooting as Renee Good's SUV crashes into parked cars, her wife running, then collapsing in the snow. Today, DHS releasing this video and saying Good had been following the officers over the course of the morning. The shooting itself caught on multiple cameras, including Jonathan Ross's cell phone, the ICE officer who engaged with Good and fired the deadly shots. The administration has repeatedly said the officer fired in self-defense. Protests in cities across the country today. with massive crowds packing Minneapolis, outraged over Wednesday's fatal ICE shooting. We're talking easily 1,000 plus people here. The streets are packed. People here can barely move, and the anger here is palpable. Tonight, new surveillance video shows the aftermath of the shooting as Renee Good's SUV crashes into parked cars, her wife running, then collapsing in the snow. Today, DHS releasing this video and saying Good had been following the officers over the course of the morning. The shooting itself caught on multiple cameras, including Jonathan Ross's cell phone, the ICE officer who engaged with Good and fired the deadly shots. Administration has repeatedly said the officer fired in self-defense. Protests in cities across the country today, with massive crowds packing Minneapolis, outraged over Wednesday's fatal ICE shooting. We're talking easily 1,000 plus people here. The streets are packed.
We honor Renee's memory by living her values, rejecting hate and choosing compassion, turning away from fear and pursuing peace, refusing division and coming together to build a world where we all come home safe to the people we love.
Venezuela isn't yours! Venezuela isn't yours! No more food, no more war! No more food, no more war! Venezuela isn't yours! Venezuela isn't yours!
To shoot a woman in the head 3 times is appalling. And why we're allowing that? Why is this happening in the United States?
I don't really have any connections to the Democrats or the left, but what Trump is doing is psychotic. Killing people in the streets in intimidation tactics is horrifying, and we can't allow it. We have to stand up.
He said we can't allow it. We have to stand up. Well, I agree to that. I absolutely agree with that. Well, too bad they don't have that same energy when it's people who look like me, but let's continue. Now, with that all being said, let's go to this clip where they're talking about Trump repeatedly warning Iran against the use of force on guess who? Protesters. Now, don't you all find this crazy as hell? Why does he think that he should be able to warn Iran, telling them what they better not do to their protesters when his protesters are being shot by ICE and killed? See how this is so crazy? It's the hypocrisy of it all for me, but let's go to the footage. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Thank you.
Is also a U.S. Army combat veteran and Bronze Star recipient. Congressman, thank you for joining me. I want to first ask you.
Thank you.
Of course. Do you think additional U.S. military intervention in Iran is necessary? And if it leads to another prolonged conflict in the Middle East, is that something a majority of Americans would support?
Well, I wouldn't even support that, Ike, and I know the president wouldn't either. We're not looking at getting ourselves into these forever wars like we saw with Iraq and Afghanistan, where 20 plus years, trillions of dollars and thousands of lives were pledged and lost. And so what we are looking at, however, is ensuring that the basic human rights essentials are actually being provided to these protesters, where they're actually being targeted by this tyrannical Islamic dictatorship. And so what we're looking at now, as you see with the continual support of Starlink to try and help with the blackouts, as well as for encouraging messages from the United States, from the administration, and from the prince himself, Reza Pahlavi, is that they're ready to see a freely elected democratic Iran, no longer under this type of an Islamic dictatorship.
Now, between Iran, Syria, Venezuela, Nigeria, Cuba, Colombia, and now Greenland. Do you think the U.S. is getting too involved in international affairs? And should Congress be pre-authorizing these decisions?
Well, I think that it's clear that what's happening is that President Trump is returning America to the world stage as a leader. And we've also done a lot to try and help with a lot of these peace strategies you saw with Israel and Hamas, as you had seen with many of the different countries that the president's been involved with, to include Pakistan and India, which could have been something that spiraled out of control. Look, when you talk about Venezuela, he helped to apprehend through legal manner and constitutionality a tyrannical dictator who was the leader of a cartel. When you talk about kind of whether or not it should come to Congress, look, under Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11 through 13 of our Constitution, war power authorities are supposed to stay with Congress. However, people in 1957, 91, 2001, and 2002 did something where they voted for an authorized use of military force, which actually abdicates their roles and responsibilities to the executive branch. Now, President, as well as for any president, already has Article 2 executive powers when it comes to war power authority. So what he's doing right now, whether it's Venezuela, whether it was going after Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi in his first administration, or whether it's looking at support for Iran and other areas, is well within the constitutionality and balance of what we need to help with security, peace, and stability.
You know, one of the things President Trump campaigned on was no new foreign interference. And right now we're seeing President Trump calling on Cuba to make a deal with the U.S., quote, before it's too late. Would you support regime change in Cuba? And do you see the situation playing out like Venezuela?
Well, first, let me just correct. It's not really going looking at military intervention as much as it is trying to go ahead and look at peace, safety, and security for the Western Hemisphere. I mean, many people talk about the Trump corollary to the Monroe Doctrine. And what's actually you're seeing right now is that we're preventing illicit drug trades, trafficking of human women and children across the borders, and the cartels continue to grow stronger, but also making sure that Iran, China, North Korea, and Russia are kept at bay with this axis of evil that has continued to try and target the West and eliminate the global currency, which is the US dollar. So what the president's doing is simply making a stand to say, we want peace, but we will prepare for war, as you saw with his executive order to take it from $1 trillion to $1.5 trillion in defense spending this year. So what the president's doing is not trying to create forever wars. He's not trying to look at interventionism. He's looking at it to be a protectionist of the American people, our society, and our way of life.
All right, Congressman Mills, thank you for your time.
Hey, beloveds. Okay, we're going to this next clip. Trump's response to Iran's exiled crown prince sparks fears. Let's go to that. Now, I played the wrong clip. Okay, I played the wrong clip. I was looking for the one where he was issuing the warning, as if he has the right to issue anyone any type of warning, specifically about protesters, when, like I said, protesters here in the United States have lost their lives.
دنیا امروز کنار انقلاب ملی شما ایستاده است.
The world today stands with your national revolution and admires your courage. In particular, President Trump, as the leader of the free world, has closely observed your indescribable bravery and has declared that he is ready to help you. Do not abandon the streets. My heart is with you. I know that I will soon be by your side. Reliable reports have reached me indicating that the Islamic Republic is facing a severe shortage of mercenaries to confront the millions of people in the streets. And so far, many armed and security forces have left their workplaces or disobeyed orders to suppress the people.
How long do you think the Ayatollah will be in power after what we've seen play out on the ground there? When is the U.S. going to get involved now that reports of protesters being killed on the ground?
So Iran's in big trouble. It looks to me that the people are taking over certain cities that nobody thought were really possible just a few weeks ago. We're watching the situation very carefully. I've made the statement very strongly that if they start killing people like they have in the past, we will get involved. We'll be hitting them very hard where it hurts. And that doesn't mean boots on the ground, but it means hitting them very, very hard where it hurts. So we don't want that to happen. There have been cases like this where President Obama totally backed down. But this is something pretty incredible that's happening in Iran. It's an amazing thing to watch. They've done a bad job. They've treated their people very badly, and now they're being paid back. So let's see what happens. We're watching it. We're watching it very closely.
they treated their people very badly, and now this is their payback. Well, does he not think that? What does he think of himself? Does he think that he's treating his people good? Okay. Oh, crazy. So with that all being said, confronting protest, Iran vows to strike back if U.S. attacks. And also, there has been whispers, okay? There has been some rumors that Trump is secretly plotting. Now, it's not a secret if we know about it, right? But they say he's been doing this behind closed doors and it somehow got out. You know, they have all these leaks, but they say, this is all alleged, that Trump is plotting a regime change in Iran. Now, I hope Trump isn't that crazy. Don't those people have a bounty on his head, no less? Of course they do. For killing that general, having that general killed, Soleimani, back in 2020. Okay, here we go.
Tehran threatened retaliation on Sunday against US military bases and its archfoe Israel. That's if US President Donald Trump were to carry out the threat he's repeatedly made of attacking Iran to protect protesters. With leaders of the Islamic Republic facing the biggest demonstrations since 2022, Iran's police chief said security forces had stepped up efforts to confront, quote, rioters. Hundreds have died since protests began in late December, according to a rights group. They began as a response to soaring prices, before turning against the clerical rulers who've governed since the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Social media videos posted on Saturday, despite an internet blackout, showed more large crowds in the capital Tehran. Authorities accused the US and Israel of fomenting the unrest. And Iranian Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bakir Kalibaf issued this warning to Trump on Sunday.
Therefore, so that you are not miscalculating, know that in case of an attack on Iran, the occupied lands, as well as U.S. military bases in the region, will be our legitimate targets. And with all these clear confessions that you made about invading Iran, we will not limit ourselves to a reaction. We will act based on signs of threats.
Trump posted on social media on Saturday, Iran is looking at freedom, perhaps like never before. The USA stands ready to help. In a phone call on Saturday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and US Secretary of State Marco Rubio discussed the possibility of US intervention in Iran, according to an Israeli source present for the conversation. Israel and Iran fought a 12-day war in June last year, which the United States briefly joined by attacking key nuclear installations. Though Netanyahu expressed support for the Iranian protesters on Sunday, Israel has not signaled a desire to intervene this time. Meanwhile, Reza Pahlavi, the exiled son of Iran's last Shah and a prominent voice in the fragmented opposition, said Trump had observed Iranians' indescribable bravery and stood ready to help. Do not abandon the streets, he said. It's hard to gauge how much public support Pahlavi now commands in Iran, where he has not set foot for decades.
Okay, Trump needs to just stop. That's what he needs to do. Now, since that we're talking about Benjamin Netanyahu, let me tell you something about him. Okay, so recently, Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull, okay, I read this yesterday, I want to say. Well, he basically told Benjamin Netanyahu to mind his darn business. Okay, he told him, stay out. His exact words were, stay out of our politics. Okay, that's what he told him. Stay out of our politics, because he made the comments during an interview on this channel after Netanyahu suggested that Australia's decision to recognize a Palestinian state had inflamed anti-Semitism in the country following a mass shooting at Bondi Beach. Turnbull criticized Netanyahu's comments as unhelpful and stressed that Australia's diplomatic and political decisions are made by Australians, not external powers. Okay, the current Australian Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, had already been the target of extraordinary personal attacks by Netanyahu over the exact same issue. Okay, this man is like, stay out of our politics, you know, and that's what they need to be telling Trump. That's what these countries need to tell Trump, because he needs to mind his business and stop trying to tell other people what to do. And what does he look like or sound like saying, making threats to Iran? You can tell that he's just trying to pick with these people, just trying to poke the bear to get what he wants. It's not about human rights. It's not about doing the moral thing, because we know he has no morals, okay? We know that. And we know that he has no good core human values, okay? No humanity resides within him. He sat up there and lied on that woman after she lost her life, lied on her like a dog. Okay, but we're supposed to think, mind you, that he's going over there and have something done if they are hard on their protesters, when this country is always the case. Now, mind you, Renee Nicole Good was not a protester, but she was there during the protest, driving through. Okay, and we've seen how ICE has been handling the protesters here. Is Trump telling them to back off, back down, ICE? You better not harm any of these citizens. That's their First Amendment right to protest peacefully if need be and if they choose to. No, he's not. So why in the world does he think that he should have the nerve to go over there and try to tell them what to do and how to run their country over in Iran? Like, make it all make sense. Yes, Dark Titan X, he is a pathetic loser. I agree.
Is going to have a very bad day for the dumbest reason. This rally behind me in Iowa is not a Donald Trump rally. That is a rally for Liz Cheney and Republicans against Trump. They're outdrawing Trump in red states. Why? Because Republicans are fed up with Donald Trump. They want him out of their party. And this is something that is going to upset Donald Trump, and the ketchup will be hitting the walls in Mar-a-Lago. And now, while I do feel bad for the cleaning crew at Mar-a-Lago, I do have a little bit of joy inside that Donald Trump is losing his mind right now. But more important than that, this demonstrates once again that the polls just aren't correct. When you look at the polls and you see Donald Trump is up by 1 point, 2 points, you can know that they are missing a segment of Republicans that want nothing to do with Trump. Look at New York 4. The polls had the Democrat winning by 4 points or 1 point, and the Democrat won by 8. Look at Alabama's 10th district. The polls had the Republican winning by 11 points. In deep red Alabama, the Democrat won by 25 points. The polls are missing this. Donald Trump is going to have a very bad.
And they've been lying about those polls too. We know Trump, they have not been completely honest about the polls, in my opinion. Now, with that all being said, listen, hold on, who's this? Okay, Michael Lee says, I'm from Baltimore, been in Australia 7 years. The government passed off and the people are pissed off. That's what you meant. Pissed off, and the people are mad because the Israel dude, that would be Netanyahu, told Anthony to stop Australia people from saying Israel taken out. Oh, really? So that's what it's all about. Okay, well, I figured it had something to do with that, beloved. I figured it had something to do with that. Now, let's talk about Portland, because with all of this talk and protesting about Renee Nicole Good, they have not really been talking about what happened with the shooting by the ICE agents in Portland. Wait till you all hear this. First off, the defense attorney disputes police narrative in Portland Border Patrol shooting. Now, of course, the defense is supposed to dispute it, but now the police chief seems to think otherwise. And he literally was crying. I'm going to show you the video in just a moment. But here's what the defense says. Says 2 people shot by federal law enforcement in Portland have an association with a Venezuelan criminal gang. Portland police said this in a news conference on Friday, but they did not provide any new details about the events leading up to Thursday's shooting by U.S. Border Patrol in East Portland. Here's the thing. They may have ties to that. Does that justify them being shot? That should be the question. I'm not saying that it didn't or that they didn't do something, but I would like to know that. Okay? So with that all being said, Police Chief Bob Day said the people shot Luis David Nino Mancada and Yorlines Betsabeth Zambrano Contreras came up in connection with a shooting last summer linked to the gang Tren de Aragua. Now, though the investigation of the shooting on July the 11th, or through that shooting, the investigation of the shooting on July the 11th, there became a nexus to them. Okay, so let's go to that video and hear what the chief has to say, because I told you all this poor man was crying. Okay, real tears, not crocodile ones, from the looks of it. All right, let's get into it.
How do we solve our nation's biggest challenges? Precision, speed, honor. No roadmap, no problem. Launching AI in orbit, using XR on the battlefield, stopping fentanyl at the border, making America stronger, safer, faster. It's who we are and how we lead. Booz Allen, it's in our code.
I want to speak for just a moment specifically to my Latino community. It saddens me that we even have to qualify these remarks, because I understand, or at least have attempted to understand through your voices, your concern, your fear, your anger. This information in no way is meant to disparage or to condone or support or agree with any of the actions that occurred yesterday. But it is important that we stay committed to the rule of law, that we stay committed to the facts, that we stay a trustworthy and legitimate police department for all of Portlanders. They do have some nexus to involvement with TDA. We can confirm that. We know that we had a shooting in Northeast Portland in July of this year, and the victim in that shooting was self-identified as a Venezuelan immigrant who informed us that the suspects in that shooting were associated with TDA. Based upon that, we've been working that case. It's an ongoing investigation, but we have been working that case, and there's also been involvement with the two people who were shot yesterday by the federal officers through some criminal cases out in Washington County. So this is a regional effort as we look at this group affiliation and the potential for violence that has occurred. And it's still ongoing, so I don't have details. And what I can say is there is an association with the two folks yesterday and TDA. I hesitated to even share this information initially because I'm very aware of the historic injustice of victim blaming, oftentimes portrayed by law enforcement, including this very agency that I've represented so proudly for so many years. And historically, we have not been quick to disclose the potential criminal history of others. But I felt it was imperative because I was asked yesterday in the news conference what information we have. This is information we have. This in no way draws a through line to the actions or the behaviors that occurred yesterday.
Okay, so now with that all being said, here's the thing. As I said, they may have had ties, connections to the gang. I would prefer he had gotten up there and spoke also after he said that, talked about the shooting. Okay, was it justified? Because here's the thing. In my opinion, just because you have ties to a gang does not mean the shooting was justified. Did they or did they not try to weaponize their vehicle towards those ICE agents? That's the question. That's the question. Not whether they were gang members tied to gangs. Okay, that's not really, as important as whether the ICE agents acted in a nefarious manner, in an unlawful manner. Okay. Alice says, we can't get out of here. U.S. passports are being canceled or being reported lost or stolen. Check yours. Baby, if anything happens to my passport, I got something else to get up out of here. I promise you that. Okay. Is this Miss Mississippi? I think so. Blessings, beautiful, beloved Queen and Royals. Happy New Year, my loves. Thank you, beloved. And the same to you, beloved. Okay, Laverne said he pulled an Erica Kirk. Okay, I wasn't going to say it. I was going to say it, but y'all are low down because that man was crying real tears. Y'all think he was faking? Y'all didn't see those tears trickling down his little face? Y'all gonna leave these gingers alone. Reggie says, I don't trust gingers. It's hard to put them under. They need more anesthesia. What? Reggie, why are you talking about putting them under? First of all, listen, I'll tell you like this. Gingers, as far as I'm concerned, gingers are usually very nice, loving, good white folk. All right? They're usually good, loving, good white folk. Now, y'all gonna leave gingers alone. All right? Y'all don't follow Jolly Good Ginger on TikTok? What about Prince Harry? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I like gingers. Okay, at least the ones that I know of. All right, so with that all been said, okay, it's me, Queen, baby. Okay, I thought it was, beloved. You know how they be acting crazy with y'all's names. Okay? Ronnie said that wasn't fake crying. Okay, the man was crying for real. They're hating on the poor man, okay? And Nene said, man up. Let's continue. Y'all are something else. All right, now, with that all being said, listen, Steve Bannon. Do I want to talk about him first? Yeah, let's talk about it. Steve Bannon. So his conviction, remember when Steve Bannon said if they lose midterms, everybody in the room, including him, is going to prison? Well, he certainly is going to prison. He was already handed a ticket. He just hadn't cashed it in yet, you see, because Mr. Steve Bannon was already convicted. And he was appealing, and trying to get out of it, of course, as anyone would. But the fact of the matter is, 3-judge panel said, no, you're going down for the count. Okay. And recently his conviction was affirmed. All right. So he's on his way out of here. Okay. Even if they do win midterms, which they absolutely will not. Okay. So here's the thing. Now, Bannon was initially, for those of you who don't really know why he got into trouble, it's because Bannon was served 2 subpoenas, right? One was for him to testify about January the 6th, and the other one was for some documents that I guess he didn't want to turn in, if I'm not mistaken. But however, he refused. Okay, he refused to do any of this. He's like, I'm not telling y'all nothing. I'm not doing ish. I don't care about no darn federal subpoenas. Now, if you don't show up when it's a federal subpoena, you can go to jail, right? Metro Man says people thought they were playing. That was all. That wall was not to keep others out, but to keep us in, because what they had planned, they knew we were chunking the deuce. Okay, well, that's what it didn't Outkast say that in the song. I wonder if the wall was put up to keep them out or keep our ass in. Okay, but thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so but here's the thing: Steve Bannon has been out. He's been allowed to stay out, and be free while he was on appeal. And this was all due to a nefarious judge by the name of Carl Nichols. Now, this is a Trump-appointed judge, mind you. Okay, so a favor for a favor is what it all sounds like to me. So he let him stay out. Okay, he let him stay out, but at the end of the day, Peter Navarro, who was charged and convicted of the exact same thing as Bannon, he's already serving his sentence for his crimes. Okay, he went straight to prison. He should be out by now because I think he got the same time as Bannon, which was only like 4 months. Okay, Bannon got 4 months, and he's sitting there appealing. See, I want you all to think about this. Who in the world would appeal a 4-month prison sentence when you know that you did exactly what they said you did? When you know that you're guilty as HE double hockey sticks. Now, if you weren't guilty, that's another thing. But you're guilty and you're appealing, sir, sit down. You're going to prison. Okay, you're going to prison. All right, that's where you're headed. Now, with that being said, Let's just get a little deeper into it. Okay, the former Trump advisor Stephen K. Bannon was rightfully convicted of contempt of Congress for refusing to testify in front of the committee. Let me just put this on the screen so you all can get a bird's eye view. I don't know why this man thinks he doesn't deserve to get exactly what he's gotten. I don't know why he thinks that. It's entitlement. That's what it is. So anyway, former Trump advisor Stephen K. Bannon was rightfully convicted of contempt of Congress for refusing to testify in front of the committee that investigated the January 6, 2021 Capitol attack. Okay, an appellate court judge ruled on Friday. Now, this is an article from last year, or not last year, from May 2024, when this all first transpired. But like I said, he's been trying to get out of it. Okay, now the court did not immediately order Bannon to begin serving his 4-month prison sentence. Instead, he has 7 days to ask for reconsideration to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit. Now, the unanimous decision was written by Brad Garcia, the newest member of the court. Bannon deliberately refused to comply with the select committee subpoena in that he knew what the subpoena required and intentionally did not respond and gave no persuasive argument for doing so. Now, Bannon failed to comply with the subpoena, and his failure to comply was willful. Bannon, a right-wing podcaster who continued to spread false claims about the 2020 election, was sentenced in 2022 to prison for ignoring the congressional subpoena, but remains out on bond while challenging that conviction. Now, he maintains that he was following legal advice in refusing to cooperate with the committee. That argument runs whoever gave him that legal advice, I hope it wasn't an attorney. Okay, because that's what it sounds like. They told him wrong because he's going straight to prison. Don't stop and go and don't collect $200. Now, the argument runs headlong into settled law. Okay, this is what Garcia wrote, which says that when it comes to answering a subpoena, this exact advice of counsel defense is no defense at all. The panel included a Biden appointee, a Trump appointee, and an Obama appointee. Peter Navarro, a senior Trump aide, who said in a memoir that he and Bannon had a plan for June 6th that would keep President Biden from taking office. So they got proof and receipts on these fools. Okay, reported to prison in March for his contempt conviction and identical sentence. Okay, they had proof and receipts on them. Not to mention, they had posted, I think Bannon had posted stuff on social media. They just had evidence on them, okay, that they knew this was going to happen. They knew because Bannon had made a comment to someone or at some point saying something about something big is going to happen. Okay, how did he know? Flouting congressional subpoenas betrays a lack of respect for the legislative branch, which exercises the will of the people of the United States. Okay, that's what Judge Carl J. Nichols, a Trump appointee, said at Bannon's sentencing. However, Bannon has repeatedly argued that his lawyer advised him not to answer the subpoena unless and until former President Donald Trump waived his executive privilege over their communications. At the end of the day, Bannon, nobody cares. Did he think that was going to get him off? If he said that his lawyer gave him bad advice? If your lawyer gave you bad advice, then sue. Okay, but he was using that to try to get his conviction, appealed, trying to get his conviction overturned. But it's not happening. Okay, it's just not going to happen. Now, let's go to what Trump said. Hold on. Yeah, this is what I was looking for. Okay, let's go to this clip where Trump's sitting here bragging about what in China. Just bragging as per usual. He can't resist. And half of the time, mind you, he's lying or embellishing clearly. He's never at any point, in my opinion, telling the whole truth. Because that for him would be impossible.
China, and I told Russia, we get along with you very well. We like you very much. We don't want you there. Not going to be there. And if we didn't do this, China would have been there and Russia would have been there. Maybe they both would have been there together, but they're not going to be there now. One thing I will tell them, and I will tell you, that we are open for business. China can buy all the oil they want from us there or in the United States. Russia can get all the oil they need from us. I told China and I told Russia, we get along with you very well.
So he thinks he's so Billy Badass. But do you all remember the other day when I told you that Trump doing this whole thing, this whole invasion of Venezuela and kidnapping Maduro and his wife, this could give China the wherewithal to feel like, okay, we can just go over here and do the same thing to Taiwan. And Putin, oh, I can just go over here and do the same thing in Ukraine. Okay, these type of moves can embolden other nefarious leaders such as Trump. Okay. And then someone asked him something about China and Taiwan recently. And here's what he had to say.
Events of the past few days. You probably are deeply impressed with how the special operators ran.
He was impressed.
You may also be thinking that if you're Xi, that you could use the same logic to decapitate and control Taiwan. Or why couldn't Putin use that argument, same argument, it's a threat, to grab the rest of Ukraine or go beyond into other former Soviet states? So have you created a precedent that you may come to regret later on?
No, because this was a real threat. You didn't have people pouring into China. You didn't have drugs pouring into China. You didn't have all of the bad things that we've had. You didn't have the jails of Taiwan opened up and the people pouring into China. There aren't that many people in the jails, but you didn't have hundreds of thousands of people coming from jails and mental institutions.
But she
pouring
regards
into China
Taiwan as a separatist
or pouring into Russia.
She would tell you Taiwan's a threat to China, that it's a separatist operation.
It's a source of pride for him. He considers it to be a part of China. And that's up to him what he's going to be doing. But, you know, I've expressed to him that I would be very unhappy if he did that. And I don't think he'll do that. I hope he doesn't do that.
So you don't think you've set a precedent with other countries?
He may do it after we have a different president, but I don't think he's going to do it with me as president.
Why not, Trump? Why wouldn't he do it with you as president? Because you're Billy Badass. Okay, do y'all hear this? And let me just tell you all something else. Okay, so now remember how Machado was talking about she dedicated her Peace Prize to Trump and all of that? And so there were rumors that she was actually going to give it to him. And I'm like, after this whole thing with Maduro, and the Nobel Peace Prize came out and they issued a statement. And here's what they had to say. Nobel Institute says Machado's Peace Prize cannot be transferred to Trump. Now, this came out today. It's breaking news. Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado will not be able to hand over her 2025 Nobel Peace Prize to President Donald J. Trump, despite recent suggestions she has made about doing so. Okay, this is what the Norwegian Nobel Institute said. In a statement, they clarified that a Nobel Prize can neither be revoked, shared, or transferred, okay, to others. Once the announcement has been made, the decision stands for all time. Now, it's not possible to revoke a Nobel Peace Prize. Neither Alfred Nobel's will nor the statutes of the Nobel Foundation mention any such possibility. Okay, and that's according to the Nobel Institute. Now, the Institute also their stance follows Trump's announcement during a sit-down interview that aired on January the 6th on Fox News with Hannity that Machado would be coming to the United States next week sometime. During the interview, host Sean Hannity asked Trump if he plans to meet Machado to accept her 2025 Nobel Peace Prize if she gifted it to him. And he says, I understand she's coming in next week sometime, and I look forward to saying hello to her. And I've heard that she wants to do that. That would be a great honor. How desperate are you? You want somebody else's Nobel Peace Prize? That's how desperate you are for one? Do y'all hear this? This is all so crazy. Okay, but that's y'all's president, honey. He doesn't care how he gets it. Okay? He doesn't care how he gets it, as long as he gets it. I mean, it's just also sad and pathetic, quite frankly. Now, let's talk about this racist arch judge. Okay? We're going to talk about this judge. We're going to talk about this racist judge, and then we're going to talk about the dentist and his wife Okay, they have arrested someone. They have arrested someone, and then we're going to talk about Offset and these alleged threats that he has made about Stefan and Cardi. Okay, specifically Stefan in this report. Okay, so let's talk about this judge who says that she is the new racist. Okay, that's what she said. She's the new racist. I want y'all to pay attention. I just wonder how many Black people, immigrants, or whomever was non-white has she sent up the river on some trumped up charges or some shady evidence? Who knows?
That breaking news from the 7 investigators, the local judge accused of making racist and homophobic comments is vacating her position after being removed from her docket more than a year ago.
It's a story the 7 investigators first broke in September of 2024. 7 investigator Heather Catallo is here with what she has learned.
This has been a long process. You'll recall we revealed recordings of Judge Kathleen Ryan making some shocking statements. Judge Ryan has essentially been on paid leave for 15 months and once described herself in those recordings as untouchable. The Judicial Tenure Commission has been investigating this for more than a year, but they did not take action against her. Her lawyer is confirming to me late today that she is retiring, and the vacancy for her position has already been posted by the governor's office for potential candidates to apply for an appointment to the bench.
I can honestly say that, okay, I'm not systemically racist, I'm a new racist.
The 7 investigators were the first to reveal the recordings that Oakland County officials say prompted Judge Kathleen Ryan's removal from her docket in August of 2024.
Black. I'm so off at this Black Lives Matter, hashtag Me Too, all this. Oh my God, I'm like, you.
On Wednesday, a judicial vacancy was posted on the State Bar website saying the former Oakland County Chief Probate Pro Tem Judge was vacating her position on the bench.
Kathleen A. Ryan presiding. Good morning. You may be seated.
Ryan was a probate judge for 13 years until the Oakland County Probate Court administrator filed a complaint against her, alleging Ryan had been harassing him, calling him after hours for years, and making racist and other inappropriate comments.
I've never met anybody that enjoys hurting people and brags about it the way she does, or intimidating people, scaring people.
Hutton says his complaint was not acted on for months, so he then sent the recordings of his calls with Judge Ryan to state and county officials.
I just want to make it right. And I want the people in Oakland County that come to court to get a fair shake, to have their day in court, to have an unbiased trier of facts.
If you're Black from any other country, you're doing way better. If you're an American Black person, then you're a lazy piece of.
Judge Ryan has been paid for the last 15 months while she was out of the courthouse, and taxpayers have been footing the bill for visiting judges to handle her docket. Now,
I want you all to pay attention how this racist piece of filth has been getting paid for the entire time for over a year for doing absolutely nothing. But she has the audacity, dare I say, to call Black people lazy. Yikes, please. Okay, she wants to call Black people lazy. Please pay attention. And why were they paying her? Why was she being paid? And this is the same thing they do with police. Okay, when they go out here and murk somebody unarmed, unjustified. Okay, Metro Man says, y'all see Trump's pause mid-meeting, stare out the window, and then start talking about the ballroom. Black Jesus fix it. Video's wild. They're erasing. Yeah, I showed that video, beloved. I don't know if you had tuned in as of yet, but yeah, that was real crazy. Okay, he just wanted to gloat. That's all that was. Thank you for your insight to the topic and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. So this lady, not only did she get paid the entire time that she was off, now she's resigning, okay? And she's not really getting any type of consequences for this. None whatsoever. I just want y'all to pay attention. But I want y'all to remember also the Black judge from Kentucky, Steve Olu, wasn't that his name? That judge said that the prosecutor was racist, and then they suspended him for 90 days without pay for simply telling the truth, because that prosecutor is racist. But anyway, at least in my opinion, but let's continue.
Her lawyers say she is retiring and leaving the bench. Judicial Tenure Commission investigations are not public unless they reach the point of the JTC filing formal charges. Again, that did not happen in this case, so the results of that will not be made public. Now, meanwhile, I did speak with one of Judge Ryan's colleagues, Judge Daniel A. O'Brien. He said Judge Ryan was a good judge, and he expressed frustration that the court was left with visiting judges for so long while the JTC investigated, saying that really left a lot of cases not having continuity. So at least there's some resolution. She's retiring.
At least, and I'm sure a lot of people who have been in front of her are going back in their memories and going, wow.
Did I get a fair shake? Yeah. All right, thank you.
Exactly, because I'm sure there was plenty of people who didn't look like her who were not treated fairly. Okay, so now with that all being said, how many of you once in the chat, how many of you remember the story about the dentist and his wife who were found dead and their children were there? The poor little children, about 1 and maybe 3 years old, and the young children. And that was just yesterday that we spoke about this, if I'm not mistaken. Now, with that all being said, remember how I told you all that it was likely someone who definitely knew them, because how did they get in? Okay, did they have a key? Did they know the code to the alarm system? How did they get in? There was no signs of forced entry. I told you all it had to be someone who knew them. And I told you all the story about Betty Broderick. Okay? Because I felt like this is a similar story. Now, Betty Broderick, for those of you who missed it, is a woman who years ago killed her ex-husband and his new wife. And she killed them while they lay in bed asleep. This is the same story. And guess who did it? The ex-husband. That's at least who they've arrested. Okay, so let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Now, I'm going to the report by Ashley Banfield, because that's where we got the other information from. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it's an hour long. We're going to skim through this. Okay, you can rest assured. We're going to skim through it, and I'm just going to try to go to some of the key points. I have not even watched this yet, but I'm still going to skim through it. Okay, please pay attention. But I do know that the husband, shocking arrest, surgeon, ex-husband charged in brutal Ohio dentist murders, Dr. Michael McKee. How insane do you have to be a whole surgeon? And you're going to go take out 2 people because you're mad, because you're jealous, because the lady's no longer with you? Is that what it was all about? Is that what this was all about? I just wonder, because that's what it sounds like. But you mean to tell me this man was a whole surgeon? Okay, Queen Ramona Huey says, Betty took the key from her daughter's keychain and made a duplicate. That's how Betty Broderick got in. I couldn't remember. I didn't remember that. Okay, thanks for that information, beloved. Okay, wow. Reggie said he looks like the Ohio stabber. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into it.
So police actually did address that elephant in the room. Here's what Chief Elaine Bryant of the Columbus PD said to ABC News yesterday, and I quote, "I know it's frustrating for people. I know they want answers. As soon as we are able to provide more information."
Hold on, beloveds. Hold on 1 second. Change of plans. Now, before we get into that, hold on just a second. Let's go to the news report. Let's go to the news report first, where they say that the husband has been arrested. Okay.
New overnight, a tragic update. An arrest has been made in the...
All right, here we go.
Double murder of an Ohio dentist and his wife. They were killed inside their home. Monique and Spencer Tepe were discovered shot to death in their Ohio home just before the new year. Their 2 young children, they were inside the house. Fortunately, they were unharmed. The 10-day manhunt is now over. Police have arrested a suspect. News Nation's Marcus Espinoza is here with the details. Marcus, a lot of new information coming out in the last few hours. What are we learning?
A lot right now. There's so much to this story here. A tragedy here really taking place. The ex-husband is involved, accused of this initially. He's also a former or current neurosurgeon, or excuse me, vascular surgeon as well. There's a lot of history into this case here. So let's break down and get into it. He was arrested and taken into custody Saturday on 2 counts of murder. Officials saying it was the first piece of surveillance video taken from a neighborhood doorbell camera that led them to McKee, seen here allegedly walking down the Tepe street on the night of the murders, according to an affidavit. Columbus police were able to attach the car to McKee that was spotted in the area of Tepe's house just before the murders, then left shortly after. Police caught up with McKee 450 miles away in Rockford, Illinois. The 39-year-old was taken into custody without.
Okay, first of all, how dumb do you have to be? Does this man not know that everybody has Ring door cams at this point? That is just so stupid. But let's continue.
Incident Saturday. Police say he and Monique Tepe were married in 2015 and divorced 2 years later. As of now, police do not have a motive for the killings there. McKee is set to make an initial court appearance in Illinois on Monday, so he has not been extradited back to Ohio yet at this point.
What are we learning about the deceased couple? What are their friends and family members saying?
Yeah, so a lot of folks obviously devastated there. There were people who lived next to the accused as well that are speaking out, that are shocked by that. But the Tepe family issued a statement shortly after McKee's arrest on Saturday. It read in part, quote, "Nothing can undo the devastating loss of 2 lives taken far too soon, but we are grateful to the city of Columbus Police Department, its investigators, and assisting law enforcement community whose tireless efforts helped to capture that person involved." As for those close to the Tepe's, News Nation affiliate WCMH spoke with some of the Tepe's neighbors who said the arrest makes them feel a little bit safer in their own homes.
It's really heartbreaking. So I'm glad that we're getting justice for them, and I hope we get more justice for them.
They solved this expediently, and I'm really happy to know that, because we feel safe now. I feel safe. I'm sure most of us are going to sleep better tonight.
Absolutely. Funeral services for the Tepes are scheduled for later today in Columbus. And there's also reports, you mentioned the children were in the home. It's likely they were in the home after they were killed. There's a 4-year-old and an even younger child in that house. Just absolutely devastating. Police responded after one of the after the husband workplace. They didn't hear from the husband, so they called and checked on them, and that's when they discovered it. And the other thing here, real quick, is that there was concern over like a coworker situation where no idea who this person is, where they are, and so right now they made an arrest, and the community there feeling a lot safer.
This is so sad.
Darn shame. Such a darn shame. Now, why did he feel the need to take those people up out of here? He clearly was still jealous, mad, or whatever. But let's continue.
So police actually did. She was working for Nationwide, and Dr. McKee was working in Virginia at a medical clinic. So
hold on, I forgot the overlay.
So not just separation in the same city, they weren't seeing each other more than likely. There was also a standard mutual restraining order that was issued as part of the divorce. And let me stop you right there. I got a divorce. There was no such thing as that for us. Standard restraining order. I wouldn't have filed it anyway. I didn't have that kind of divorce, but a mutual standard restraining order. Maybe it's unique to Ohio, maybe other states as well. It's not standard for every state, I can tell you, but this was boilerplate in this case and maybe a lot of other cases in Ohio, but it does specifically prohibit harassment and bodily harm between spouses. Okay, interesting. Well, this is years ago, right? Right now, Dr. McKee has not entered a plea. He's sitting in jail. I don't even know if they have a magistrate on duty, right? It might just be one of those things like it sucks to be arrested on a Friday night or a Saturday because you go.
Okay, now keep in mind, I'm going to fast forward some of this because I don't want to be here all night. Like I told you all, this is kind of lengthy, but let me just tell you all about the standard restraining order that they have in Ohio. So in Ohio, basically, when people get divorced, they have it's a mutual temporary restraining order, which automatically is issued to maintain the status quo. So basically preventing both spouses from selling items or assets, incurring debt, or, like if somebody wants to be vindictive, go out and just accumulate a bunch of debt so the other person's stuck with some of the bill or whatever, incurring debt, changing insurance, or removing children from the county until the divorce is final. Okay, it's distinct from a domestic violence order, however, but often includes anti-harassment clauses, and this is basically to protect both parties. Okay, just in case anybody was wondering. Let's continue.
We'll sit there until judge comes back into work Monday morning, right? Sometimes they have weekend magistrates who can, do some things, but they're not going to give you bond, not typically for something this big. He has not been extradited back to Ohio yet, so he's still sitting in Illinois, and police haven't laid out a public motive yet. I don't know if there'll be a gag in this case or not, but
the motive is the oldest reason for a murder. Like one of the main reasons for murder is jealousy. Okay, jealousy, greed, okay, and revenge. Those are the three main reasons people kill: jealousy, greed, and revenge. But let's continue. In his case, I believe it was definitely jealousy.
Case has shifted.
Or it could have been revenge.
Has shifted. Holy shit. Did it ever just shift? We're not asking who at this point. We're asking why. And we're asking how. But I do have one big fear, and that is motive. Just like Kohberger. We still don't know. We still don't know what brought him to that house. In this case, at least we have one thing that's crystal clear. He knew this woman. If it's Dr. McKee, he knew this woman. And they had a love affair. And it went south. And she had a new love affair that was looking pretty good. 2 beautiful kids, great house, successful dentist. Lovely wedding video that's all over the internet. So, and that there's a fine line.
Let me tell you something. He was probably hating. He was probably jealous. Look at her husband. Her husband looks way better than him. They're living in a nice house. They're doing good for themselves. Beautiful children, like she said. I definitely think he was jealous. It could have been revenge too, but definitely I think he was hating on them.
Between love and hate, right? And it is a razor's edge. And when you tip over, you're in it. You're into hate. So it got me thinking about the 3 shell casings and the information about the forensics of the bodies, how Mo and Spencer were found. We know that Mo was shot once in the chest, and we know that Spencer was shot multiple times. I'm thinking twice because there's 3 shell casings, but I don't know if the killer picked up a couple shell casings on the way out. I don't know how many times he was shot.
Songwriter Sunny says, you think hospitals are where all the good people work? Any person capable of experiencing the human body is vulnerable. Any person's capable of experiencing the human body as vulnerable devices. No, absolutely not at all. The reason I brought up that he was a whole surgeon, because that's a whole career. This is something you went to college for years to get to be. And being a vascular surgeon, they make well over $300,000. They make like between $300, it depends on what state you live in, but on a regular, anywhere between $300 to over $500,000. Okay, that's what they make, and you're throwing all of that away because you're jealous or because you want revenge. Either way. Okay, I think it was jealousy, but nonetheless, you threw your whole career away. Living lavish, okay? I mean, you were living nice at least. I don't know if he's living lavish, but definitely living nice. Making all that money, had a whole career, honey. That's just so stupid. I don't know what some people be thinking. Some people are willing to risk it all for revenge, for jealousy and envy, honey. I don't have time for any of it. It's all ridiculous, okay? It is all ridiculous. Now look at him. He's going to be in prison for the rest of his life if he doesn't get the death penalty.
But if that's the case, it could be 2 things. I hate you. I want you to suffer. I'm going to shoot you once and watch you die. And I hate him too, but I'm going to take him out with a number of gunshots, right? A little like Betty Broderick, right? If you think about Betty.
Now, y'all heard that, right? She compared this case to Betty Broderick, just like I did yesterday. I want y'all to pay attention. The Queen's intuitiveness is always on point.
Betty Broderick bursted into the bedroom of her ex-husband and his new wife and shot them in bed. Spencer was seen off the bed in a pool of blood, covered in blood. The 911 caller did not see Mo, but I've got lots coming up on what he did see, where he saw it from, clearing up a lot of the confusion in that. But again, you're going to have to listen to the stuff that I just recorded before the arrest, when my headspace was, in the mystery of who done it and the Idaho, PTSD. But I've got a lot of information on that. And I've done a big breakdown on the cops' response to the welfare check. The body cam, I've got that. And I've zeroed in on an address, and I do not think that the police were anywhere near even 4th Street. North 4th Street, not in the investigation that I've done. So without further ado, what I want to do is I want to play for you everything that I just finished recording before this arrest happened. Hey everyone, I'm Ashley Banfield, and this is Drop Dead Serious. And I don't know about you, but I'm just going to say it. I have Idaho anxiety. 3 years ago, when some stranger broke into a college student's home,
Okay, we remember that story clearly. Okay, we remember that story was so sad and so nefarious. With that all being said, that man's in jail. I thought she was going to give more insight on that. Like I said, I had not watched the video, and maybe she eventually does. Hold on, let me fast forward. Hold on. I wanted to go to a specific spot. Okay, hold on. Let's go back to it. Be patient, beloveds.
Tepe's 1411. Brown and white house is 1413. The next house that's kind of beige and brown as well is 1415. And then the house after that, let's zero in on it. The white house that looks older. This one hasn't been knocked down yet, right? And gentrified and rebuilt. That older house, that I get to be, I guess, 1417. And if you watch the body cam of the cop who is arriving at 1417, I want you to pay close attention to what side of the house the cop walks up and under the address and goes to the door. Because if you look at the house I'm showing you, you can clearly see that the stairway is on the right-hand side of that house, right-hand side of a porch. Now watch the body cam and see if it looks anything like this.
Radio 31.
21.
This one's 8A3752 North High, Winkle Green and Co. Drop this rear entry door, front motion, and rear motion detector.
No, 31.
No.
Send that to me, please, 31.
31, I'll show you clear.
31, copy that. Thank you, sir.
I was made for loving you, baby, baby, made for loving me. 21, 23, 21, 19.
Unit 43. 30A 980 King, apartment 8, C Genevieve.
Got it.
Y'all are crazy talking about audition for Star Search. Could have at least said American Idol. It's more current.
Anybody home? Anybody home? Bird. Anybody home? There we go. Anybody home? Yeah. It was the old college try. Work.
So it's obvious that's not the house, right? That cop walked up to the left-hand side of an older house, 1417, and didn't walk up any stairs, just walked right towards the door. That is not the house that you just saw on the picture I showed you on North 4th, 3 doors down from the Teppies, 1417 North 4th. I, for that reason, do not believe that the cops were even on North 4th. Look, I'm happy to be disproven because lots of these houses have been knocked down and rebuilt, but that house on North 4th is old. That's been there a long time. And the house that the cop walked up to, that's old too. That's been there for a long time. So I'll be curious to find out what street did they actually respond to. And I also am curious to find out what instruction did the cop get from dispatch? Did the cop get the address 1411 North 4th and screw up so royally? Or did the cop get a bogus instruction from dispatch? That part of the tapes I haven't heard yet, and I'm willing to suspend disbelief until I get more clarity. So that's where we stand. And all I am thinking about is what the cops have already, because they have to get to a bar where they can make the arrest, because the clock starts ticking when you make an arrest. You got to have enough. You got to have enough, because you constitutionally have a right to a speedy trial in America. And if a defendant says, I want that speedy trial, you better be prepared, coppers. Then you better be prepared, right? So you always have to have enough to make the arrest. Not everything for a prosecution, but you have to have enough. And then once the arrest is effectuated,
Okay, clearly Ashley has turned into a private investigator. Okay, so anyway, let's talk about what they're reporting. They went to the wrong house. I did not know that. I saw Nene put it in the chat. So with that all being said, the couple was discovered dead at their Columbus home on the morning of December 30th after concerned friends and colleagues of Spencer Tepps called authorities. Now, the dentist's boss called at 8:58 a.m., according to a transcript of the call, and described his employee as reliable and always on time, but said he hadn't shown up for work and no one could reach him. We're very, very concerned because this is very out of character, and we can't get in touch with his wife, which is probably the more concerning thing. Because at that point, I guess they realized that both of them, something could be wrong with both of them. Now, so they say about an hour later, excuse me, that's when the police showed up at the house or went to conduct the wellness check. According to the transcript of the call, the friend found Spencer lying next to his bed in a puddle of blood. The couple's two young children could be heard screaming in the background as the friend spoke to the dispatcher. Now, with that all being said, police arrived shortly after the couple was pronounced dead at 10:11 a.m. Authorities later said the kids were unharmed. The Franklin County Coroner's Office said the couple's preliminary case and manner of death was an apparent homicide by gunshot wound. So anyway, this is a sad story. Now, the police say the investigators believe the couple were killed between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. And there's a 3-hour window in which a person of interest was recorded on a security camera walking in an alley next to their home. Okay, that's what the police said. And we now see that the police think it is the ex-husband, Michael McKee. Okay, they say he's been being held in the Winnebago County Jail in Illinois. All right. So anyway, this is what people will do out of jealousy and revenge or anger. Just can't deal with it. Okay, so now let's go to Offset. Let's go to Offset and this story that's come out on him, because is he crashing out or what? Beat, stripped, shot in the knee. Despite choking charges, paternity suits getting lined up by Cardi B's ex, NFL star Stephon Diggs continues to dominate, they say. Rapper Offset is in the news once again, and per usual, is something pertaining to his soon-to-be ex-wife, rapper Cardi B, and her boyfriend and new father of her child, Stephon Diggs. Now, since Offset and the WAP MC split, the Migos rapper has continuously made threats toward her. And now with her dating the New England Patriots star and giving birth to a baby boy by him, well, he's up to his old tricks, they say. Not up to his old tricks. So they say in a video released by social media influencer Selena Powell, and let me just reiterate that Selena Powell, as I'm sure I've told you before, is a liar who lies. I don't even know why Offset was messing with her. She already lied on him before and said he got her pregnant. So anyway, in the video that she released, basically, it's Offset appearing to make some threats on FaceTime. So I'm going to go to the footage. Now, here's the thing that I did notice. Let's go to it. Nessa G said he's truly crashing out. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Don't risk it all, Offset. I hope Offset doesn't turn out to be like this doctor, okay? Like this doctor that we just read about. Please don't do it. It's never worth it. Life goes on. Okay, so let me I'm trying to get this off of here. Okay, hold on, beloveds. Okay, there we go.
If I catch Buddy and I can catch him, it's gonna be bad.
You
So I
gonna beat
think
him
she
up?
on some man, beat, strip, shot in the knee, all type of shit. See, I wasn't on his
Shot
ass.
in the knee.
Y'all heard that? She said you gonna beat him up. Byron B said the Ghetto Chronicles Part 2. I know that's right. Matter of fact, I think it's Part 3 at this point, beloved. But she said you gonna beat him up. And he said, man, beat, strip, shot in the knee, all that. Okay, it's really sounding like Tanya Harding. Remember Tanya Harding wanted to ruin Nancy Kerrigan's Olympic shot so she could win her biggest competition, and she had someone attack that woman and hit her in the kneecap. This is what Offset's talking about. Shooting Stephon Diggs in the damn knee. Offset, sir, you might want to relax. Are you okay? Are you cool? You might want to just take a step back, sir, and reevaluate the situation. It's not that serious, okay? Also, from the per the reports that have come out as of late, Stephon's already got enough troubles. He doesn't need you adding to it, joining in on the melee, like make it all make sense. But here's the thing. Here's what I find so interesting. It's the fact that the fact that Offset even was entertaining this woman. This is the same woman who posted pictures of him in her bed and lied and said that she was pregnant by him. It was all just made up. Okay? That's Offset in her bed. Now she posted that. Look at her. Okay. Clearly a 304 out for a money grab, if you ask me. So why would he be back messing with her? Just nonsensical. So at this point, you get what you get. You know what I'm saying? You get what you get. But on the flip side, he could have been joking, or he could say that he was joking, but I don't believe he was. He also could say, well, I didn't say, I wasn't talking about him, because he never said the person's name. He just called him Buddy. But Offset, we all know who you were talking about, beloved, and we know you were dead ass serious, and you need to sit down somewhere before you end up in prison. Okay? Before you end up in prison. It is never that serious. With that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in once again. Please like, share, subscribe. Okay? Double check to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you have not been receiving your notifications. And on that note, beloveds, I will see you all in the morning with your morning wake-up call. Until next time, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. Always remember to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Hey, yo, Nick, hit him with that flavor. Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got